All right, let's talk about a skill that can totally transform the career of anyone in finance, using SQL to turn all that data chaos into crystal clarity. Seriously, if you've ever felt overwhelmed by spreadsheets, this one is for you. So, does this look a little too familiar? Your week is just a blur of massive Excel files, and each one seems bigger and slower than the last. You spend more time just waiting for things to load and wrestling with VLOOKUPs than actually analyzing the numbers. You're not alone, and believe me, there's a much, much better way.
So here's our game plan. We're going to break this down into 4 parts. First, we'll dig into the big data problem in finance. Then, we'll introduce a completely new strategy using SQL. After that, we'll build out your essential toolkit. And finally, we'll show you how to go from just writing a query to getting a real valuable insight. Okay, first up, let's really define the problem we're trying to solve. For finance teams, it's this daily struggle with massive, scattered datasets that are just all over the place. Here's the core of it, right? When we pull these huge data sets onto our computers to work in spreadsheets, the whole process is manual, it's slow, and honestly, it's dangerously error-prone. I mean, think about it. One single broken formula can corrupt an entire report, and you might not even know until it's way too late. So, what's the solution? It's all about a new SQL strategy. And this isn't just about learning a new language, it's about completely rethinking your entire data workflow to be way more efficient and way more accurate. And the strategy itself is beautifully simple, just 3 steps. First, you centralize all your large data sets in one single place, like a data warehouse. Second, you do all of your calculations and transformations right there at the source using SQL. And third, you only pull out the final polished numbers you actually need for your reports. No more giant, messy data dumps. All right, section 3, let's build your essential SQL toolkit. Now, don't get intimidated by the code. The fundamental building blocks are incredibly powerful, and you'd be surprised, they're actually pretty easy to learn. It all starts with these 3 key commands: select, from, and where. Think of it like you're asking a really specific question. You select the columns you want, you tell the database from which table to get them, and then you use where to filter for only the rows you need. Something like select revenue from the sales underscore table, where the quarter is Q4. Simple as that. Now, this is where it gets really powerful for finance. Aggregation functions are like having super-powered calculator functions for your entire database. You can instantly sum total revenue, find the average transaction value, or count the number of sales. And by adding group by, you can do all of this for specific categories, like summarizing all your expenses by department. It's a game changer.
But what if your data is in different tables? That's where joins come in. A join is how you link related information together. For instance, you might have one table with all your transaction amounts and another one with customer names. A join lets you connect them into a single, unified view. And this visualization shows that connection perfectly. You see how both tables share that cust ID column? The join uses that common key to match transaction 101 to ABC Corp and 102 to XYZ Inc. That's the magic that brings all these separate data sets together into one cohesive picture. And that brings us to our final section: how to turn that query into a real insight. Once you have the basics down, you can start using some more advanced techniques for some really powerful financial analysis, the kind of stuff that would be a total nightmare to do in a spreadsheet. I absolutely love this quote from our source material. If you have to teach one thing, it's the CTE, or Common Table Expression. And why is that? Because it makes your complex logic human readable. It turns your query from just code into a story. And this illustrates the difference brilliantly. On the left, you have this tangled mess of nested logic that's super hard to read and even harder to debug. But on the right, by using CTEs, you have the exact same logic, but it's broken down into these clean, logical steps. It's like a recipe that anyone on your team can follow. Okay, another game changer for finance: window functions. Think of them as special calculations that can look at the rows before or after the current one. This lets you easily calculate things like a running total of revenue for the quarter or a 30-day moving average of sales, metrics that are just incredibly difficult to manage in Excel. So what's the point of all this? This is the crucial part. All this elegant SQL work has a final, beautiful payoff. You're not just writing queries, you're building an engine for automated visual reporting. You can connect your clean, efficient SQL query directly to a business intelligence tool like Power BI. And then, instead of you manually creating charts every month, the visuals just update automatically. You write the query once, and the report runs itself forever.
Or you can boil down millions of rows of data into that single critical KPI that leadership needs to see. This number isn't just a static value. It's the live, accurate result of your SQL query ready to be dropped into any dashboard or presentation. So we'll leave you with this one final thought. Now that you have this framework, centralize your data, transform it at the source, and extract only what you need, the possibilities are truly endless. The only question left is, what financial question will you answer first?